In the darkest nights, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Surviving together, victorious. Never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you. Still getting used to how this is going. It's an auto intro now, so I don't have to actually press some buttons, but I ended up in the wrong place anyway. So welcome to Surviving Together, guys, on this Wednesday night. It is beautiful here in Michigan, but I know it's not some other places in the United States. And Shannon, our very own Shannon, is safe and sound. If anybody was worried, her home, please send out some ones and some prayers for everybody who is going to be affected by the hurricane in Florida, Hurricane Milton. It's a pretty big deal here. It is down to a Category 3, hoping that that's going to stay at a Category 3, but it's still going to pack a pretty big punch, and they're anticipating lots of damage. So let's definitely keep everybody in our thoughts and our prayers. Let's see who we have here today. Crystal, welcome. I saw you earlier. I don't know why my cursor all of a sudden will not work, but all right, we'll do this differently. Shannon, glad you are here, and I'm glad you are safe. Jadri, oh, good to see you. Mark, good to see you too. Crystal, back to work. 4 days down. Oh, that's good. Congratulations. 4 shifts. 4 shifts, you successfully went back to work. You dealt with everything that came your way. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. It's a wonderful accomplishment. If you haven't patted yourself on the back, please do. Give yourself a giant hug and pat yourself on the back and say, good going, girl, because you did it. It's fabulous. Now I'll just have to gear up for Friday and Saturday, right? Okay. Well, given everything that's going on, I have not checked the astrology. I don't know if planets have aligned or if we're in Mercury retrograde again or what is going on. But I have had so many people who have either lost their job, broken up with their significant others, both displaced. It's just been a week and a half. I keep hearing story after story after story. So if you're in that position, just hold on tight. I'm sure it will pass. Has anybody here not heard of Hurricane Milton? Really, pretty much you'd be mocking Deaudrey. I don't know how much you guys pay attention to the weather in the United States, but Florida is getting hit by a pretty powerful hurricane. It's expected to make landfall, the eye of the storm at least, to make landfall sometime between 10 and midnight our time. So another 4 to 6 hours. That's great, Crystal. It's really great. I'm glad that you're able to find a solution. I mean, yeah, getting up and having to be at work at 3:30 in the morning isn't an ideal time, to wake up, but you get up, you get everything done. You don't have to deal with people. Perfect. I'm really happy you found a solution. Oh, DeAudrey, how long do you get to stay in the next place? Is it at least a month? Seriously, Mark, it's the last 5 years, especially, I think. Shannon would know. She's lived there her whole life, I think. Um, but this last 5 years we've been seeing more of an increase, as the waters get warmer in general. We've seen an increase in hurricane activity. And I wonder about the typhoon activity, on the flip side of the globe. I don't follow that, so I don't know if they've had an increase at all. 5 months. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, I would hate moving as yes. Yeah, I mean, my grandmother lived in Florida, just north of Orlando. So she'd be getting hit. She'd be right in the path of this as well. Uh, we went down and stayed with her all the time, and never had a concern about hurricanes. And then there was, like one, and like, okay. And then it was common for there to be at least one a season, and then like two a season. And this stuff is getting ridiculous. Hurricanes just weeks apart. In the last 5 years, it's like not unexpected, and that should be unexpected. This is a little mind-boggling. Sorry, guys, I'm sitting really low today. So I'm gonna have to try and move this. There we go. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about trauma triggers today because I know that it's things like this, hurricanes, any type of natural disasters. If you've ever been through them, they can certainly be a significant source of stress and trauma if you're faced with them again. And regardless of where your trauma is, we react, with in terms of our trauma triggers, pretty much all the same way. Dodger, I'm with Crystal. We're just crossing our fingers and hoping you get your forever place very soon. Maybe if you're really lucky, a nice Irish family will adopt you and take you in, and you'll have your forever home. Um, that's what they always call for the pets. They'll get their forever home. Okay, we're just going to do this because I can't seem to sit up on this. We're going to move this. Looky there. Woohoo! It's weird because the picture on my laptop, I've sent it to my monitor, and the coloring, it's much more yellow. This wall behind me, can you see my cursor? Can anybody see my cursor on my screen? I'm not sure if you can. But I'm wondering, this spot where I have white wall showing, I'm wondering if that's whiter or is it more yellow to you guys? Because on one it shows up bright white and one it shows up really almost beige. Todd, how you doing? How you feeling? Crystal Phoenix. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? Cream yellowish. Okay, so it's whatever I've got on this monitor. Huh. That's really interesting. Huh. I'll have to look into this some more. I have to say, my son's girlfriend gave me a bottle of leave-in conditioner that is just this store store brand, you know. And you can try a gazillion things. And I have two that I really like, but they're a little more expensive. And this one, she gave it to me, and wow, 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 does my hair feel soft? And I'm like pretty amazed. So yeah, if I'm feeling my hair a heck of a lot, you guys understand why. It's like a sensory thing. Just playing with my hair. Who else likes their hair petted in order to go to sleep? Petted or just just somebody run their hand through your hair or whatever. I will go to sleep like that. Oh my gosh, so good. My hair's fluffy. Yeah. I have a lot of it, which I'm so thankful for. It is starting to thin here on top. I can feel it as I feel it being thinner. Still have a lot of it, but I'm still feeling it. It's by Whole Blends, and I've seen them before. And I want to say they're like a Garnier. It actually might be Garnier Fructose or something. That might be their sub brand or whatever. But I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. It's in this kind of orangey, beigeish bottle. That's not a very good description. But yeah, it's a Whole Blends leave-in conditioner, and I really, really like it. All right, good. Well, now that we've checked in on everybody, I know that we've spoken about triggers before, and we've spoken about them in lots of different contexts. I thought today, with the way things are going, that we just kind of go over them again, just for any of our newcomers. Where's Gypsy Daisy? I don't see Gypsy Daisy. Does Gypsy Daisy go by another name and then I don't know? Oh, there. I see you. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for welcoming her, because I didn't see her. It slipped right by. So glad you are safe. So glad you are safe. Everybody reacts to trauma differently. When my life fell apart, I did anything I could just to keep my head above water. Thank goodness I had my parents there at that point in time, and I was living with them. And so they took a lot of the weight off of the daily type of chores and things. So I was able to heal, but it still took a good part of 10 years. And I'm still not there. I'm on this journey with you guys. Had to cancel a live the other day because I was just totally off kilter and I couldn't get regulated again. And that's what happens when you are triggered. And I was. I had been triggered on Friday, I think it was. Yeah, and Saturday I could not get it back to square one where I could do a live show that was all about funny material. I couldn't get there, and you guys wouldn't have had fun. I hope you had fun on Saturday or Sunday. Ended up being. Hope you guys had fun on Sunday. That was the purpose of it. Yeah, Shannon, I've been looking at all of the people who have already lost power, and that's not even with it touching landfall. It was pretty amazing. Let me see. I have a page up. I'm going to see what time it's going through. Yeah, just kind of checking on the storm. it's moving right along. I'll say that. It looks like it's gonna go, but it's going straight through. So it's not going to be one of these lingering ones where you're gonna have it hanging over for a day. Because I remember one of them kind of did that. It just went woo, and then it was like woo, and it just swirled, just dumping buckets of rain on everybody for like a day, and then it did pick up speed. Okay, because it certainly looks like it did. Your friend got stuck at the airport there. Wow. I bet they've got everybody at the airport huddled into certain areas. I would imagine you would know more about that. All right, it looked like my cursor has now absolutely died, so we're going to be moving over to the other one. And then I'm going to have to remember to plug this one in so that I have power tomorrow. All right. Let me shut that off. Okay, well, that's all right. I'll just do it this way. So keep in mind, guys, that when something triggers you, keep in mind that it's your sympathetic nervous system that's kicking in, that fight, flight, freeze. We won't get into fawn because it's really not applicable here, but your body's going to react before you can. Before your conscious brain has a chance to kick in, your survival brain has already been there, done that, made a decision, and executed it because your survival depended on it. And it does not have time for your conscious brain to go, if we did this. But on the other hand, it's like, no, I don't need you. We're cutting you off. This is the reaction you get. This is what I feel your brain is saying. This is what we feel is best in the situation right now. And that's how we're going to react. So when we see something similar in the future, we know how to react. So when you see something in the future similar, but not the same, it can be a smell, that cigar smoke that is reminiscent of some unpleasant memories. The red shirt that you always saw somebody wear. It can be a place, baseball dugout, or that particular church, or a Boy Scout meeting, right? It can be any number of things. So there's sensory, situational, and emotional. So, and this is one I don't think that gets talked about a lot, right? So senses, you can hear something, smell something, see something, feel something, hear, any one of your senses can trigger a memory. Smell being one of the biggest. For some reason, smell triggers our memory the quickest and has the deepest memories associated with it. Situational, just like I said, depends on where you are. It's a place. It's a whether it's generalized to just a beach or this particular beach, locations. But emotional trauma triggers, I don't think gets spoken about enough. And this was something that I was just learning into, really, because emotional triggers, are when you're sad, when you're angry. Any of those emotions can trigger a trauma response because that anger is reminiscent of, what you would always feel after your abuser left your room. or sad, because when somebody left you like they just did, that feels just like every other time somebody left, and that just really triggers abandonment issues. And a response to that, you're going to have an automatic response. Yep, your limbic system. Exactly, Todd. I know, Crystal. Neither have I. Now, and here's something, okay? My wonderful friend got me a bottle of Malbec to go with the steaks that we're having tonight and the chili we had yesterday. Um, for some, this could be a trigger. You know, if seeing a wine glass or seeing somebody have a drink isn't a trigger for you, you need to let me know, and I will never ever do this again. I've only done this once in the 8 months we've been on, and seems to be okay. So I'm gonna have a drink. It's pretty good. Crystal, I had never heard of emotional triggers, but to me, it made so much sense. And it's funny because I didn't even look at my notes before I was starting to talk to you about this emotional, and it's started certain feelings such as sadness or abandonment can evoke past trauma responses. And that is totally true. I don't know, has this happened to anybody else? Have you ever felt that you've had a trauma response to a feeling? Normally a negative feeling, I would imagine. But I certainly have. Ooh, that would be tough. That would be tough. Not to be able to even watch a show where alcohol bottles were like in the background, on the tables or something where they were sitting. Um, that would be pretty hard. Most recovering alcoholics who I've known have all said, because I'm sensitive to that. Obviously my ex is an alcoholic, and he was in AA for a while, and got to know some of the Al-Anon people, and it I always would offer not to drink, in front of somebody who, I knew was a recovering alcoholic. And they were like, no, no, no. He goes, this is real life. I'm going to be places where there is alcohol, and I have to be okay with it. That is your choice to drink, and whatever you are doing with that, and that is on you and your choice. It has nothing to do with me. And, that's the emotionally healthy response. Unfortunately, some people, don't get there. Hey, Janet, have you been to the airport? Sorry, my lips are. We're spending a lot of time on the porch. I don't think I mentioned. So, if you saw Sunday's live, you saw David with me. David has a friend up who's having a little bit of a hard time right now. So, came up to visit with his best friend and just kind of get away. So, he is been up here for the last day, and he's going to be with us until tomorrow afternoon. So it's been good. So we're kind of the home for wayward souls here, and that's totally fine with me. If people leave here a little lighter than they came, then I've done my job, right? Letting somebody have a breather and then get back to their life, and trying to deal with it and navigate it. Not at the airport yet? Okay. I'm anxiously awaiting to see. Deaudrey says yes. If someone she loves gets angry with her, she disassociates. So you definitely do this emotional triggers, right? Yeah. I I was real surprised by it, but God, it makes so much sense because I know for a fact there are there's a certain tone of voice that people can use when they're being condescending or when you can tell they're trying to pass off a compliment, but it's their heart really is not there. It's in the opposite place, right? Let's be real. Those those are such triggers for me. And honestly, I don't know quite why. It's not as if I can pinpoint in my brain people who would say anything like that on a regular basis to where I would feel that or hear, for that to come back as a trauma trigger. It's just weird for me anyway. Sorry if I look a little, it's because fall allergies are kicking my butt. Spring kicked my son's. We have spring and fall allergies usually. I wasn't too bad this spring, a little bit, but not too bad. This fall, though, oh my gosh, and the barometer here has been up at darn near 30 every time I've checked it in the last week and a half. So high pressure too for sinus headaches, which is just not going to be good for me. Um, uh, oh, that's wonderful, Crystal. You get to hear thousands of geese in the morning taking off. That's pretty cool. I think it's wonderful that I'm seeing so many of you, listing triggers in here because that is one of the biggest things of being able to deal with a trigger is you have to be able to identify it first, right? You've got to know what is triggering me. So that's where keeping a journal or something so that you can look back and say, okay, I had a panic attack that day, or I had an anxiety attack, or excuse me, I was just, I felt off kilter ever since that afternoon. See, what happened? Where was I? What was I smelling? What was I seeing? What was I hearing? What was the situation like? What was I feeling inside? And as you build those, then you're going to be able to identify why you felt weird, why you felt off. And as you identify your emotional triggers, you can't always avoid them because people are just going to say something. There's going to be a smell that's just going to be there. But when you know and you immediately smell that, and when you can feel yourself, that panic is starting to rise, if you go, that's because I smelled that smoke and I'm starting to panic. But I'm looking around and I know I'm not anywhere where I could be abused. I'm safe right now. Start breathing. Start doing some really deep, slow breathing. The more you're panicking, the slower it is, breathe slower. I'm not an expert on getting better from panic and anxiety attacks. So those of you who have had more of them than I have had, I've only had a couple, one anxiety and one panic attack. And I don't wish them on anybody because they're scarier than the first time you have them, especially. You don't know what the hell is going on. Keeping track of your triggers is great, but also to see what's your response. Okay, so the trauma, the trigger, triggers are trauma response. What is your response? is your response to get angry, to get sad, to lash out, to flee, to withdraw from a situation, lock yourself in your room or your house for days? Is it zoning out and kind of dissociating because you're having flashbacks, or you're, experiencing feelings from before? So your heart's kind of racing, and you're just this general uneasy feeling, not quite panicking. Anxiety hasn't risen to the level where it's too concerning yet, but you're not feeling the greatest. It's kind of how I've been this week, just off. And that's so frustrating, because I don't know why. So again, that's where keeping track of everything, is it my menopause? Is it my medication that I've been going down on? Is it a trauma trigger? Is it because of the work I've been doing here? Is it because of the side research that I've been doing? There's so many different things and possibilities in my life as to where I could be triggered by something and what trauma it's triggering. So I really have to track that to try and make sense of it. And again, it is important that we realize where things come from, right? Because we can't release the trauma without dealing with the traumatic event, what caused us to have the trauma in the first place. So we have to be able to trace it back. When we're talking about the responses to the trauma, pinpointing it to such a degree that it's like, well, this is why I'm feeling the anger, and this is why I'm feeling that sometimes is not necessary. It's enough that you've got it to a particular event, or person, or, abuse category. You don't have to figure out which particular abuse event this occurred from, if it is just from one thing. Usually it's accumulation of a lot of things. And dealing with trauma triggers in terms of trying to get better, coping with them, really the same as everything else we've been speaking about, in terms of grounding yourself in the present. So things like practicing mindfulness, meditating, anything you can do to make sure that, you're here and your brain's not somewhere else, right? Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can taste, 2 things you can feel, that kind of thing. And the breathing exercises we spoke about. Having a therapist, or at least a community, people you can talk to, is extremely important. Lots of online therapy now. Any of your therapies, art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy. Again, go back and watch our videos on trauma in the body. So anything you can do that's going to kick in the parasympathetic nervous system, it's going to disrupt having you on that yellow alert, being, just anxious all the time because you're, waiting for the next shoe to drop, and what else do I need to be prepared for? So you can fight or flight. And when you're like that, you're more easily triggered, I believe, because you are scanning, you are expecting something bad to happen. So maybe you wouldn't have reacted so strongly if you weren't already in that state. Again, another reason for those of us with triggers to try and be in as calm a state as a general principle as possible. So any of the therapies that you find fun, anything to shake your brain up, right? still have to do our silly dance off here. And so, of course, exercise, diet, what you eat, sleep, all of that is important in regulating our system. And so, therefore, it becomes important in dealing with trauma triggers, the consequences of the trauma triggers, I should say. Okay. Yeah, slamming of things I'm not a fan of either, Crystal. There's some door slammings that definitely bring back memories that are just like, and then I need to fight not to be in that reactive mood, because that will very much put me in a I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop then. Because if Dad went and slammed a door like that, we knew he was pissed. And you want it to be as far away as possible and as quiet as possible. So usually that meant just staying in my room, reading in my room, or watching TV if he wasn't there. So there definitely sounds that make my skin crawl. DeAudrey, I hope your meds kick in soon. Janet says she's picking up 2 pairs of ducks that are being flown in from Montreal. Why couldn't they fly, you might ask? They don't have GPS. I actually saw this TikTok thing where people, Gen Zers, were asking Gen Xers, like, how in the world did you get around if you did not have GPS? Like, some people, I think that was just a total joke, and other people, I think that they really were confused. Like, how in God's name did you navigate without GPS? I was unaware that there are some young who have not actually seen a paper map folded out in all its glory, and they have not been able to experience, I mean, an absolute milestone experience in growing up is learning how to fold a map back properly. If you've never tried one, go ahead, get a map, preferably a rather large one. Let's say at least 3 feet by 2 feet. You got to have something decent to unfold in order to fold it back. Oy, oy, oy. I was kind of stunned because, doing that was my favorite part. We get to navigate or whatever. They had their own little map, but we'd follow along when we had the Atlas map. So the big thing that was, huge. And so we'd open that, whatever state we were in, and, what town did we just pass? And so we could, track where we were. Because whenever we went into car trips, it was always really long car trips. We never went for like an hour, somewhere an hour away where we would vacation or anything. No. Nope. We went like 12 hours. You're gonna get in the car and go. Let's do the big ones. All right. Guys, I don't have much else for you tonight. We're not real talkative. I think a lot of people are concerned. There's a lot of worry in the air. I feel it, and I'm thinking of everybody who is in harm's way, who has property in harm's way. wishing you all the best and sending you good jujus and good thoughts and wonderful feelings, praying that everything will be okay for you. And we'll be here to support you through it. So please reach out if you need. Surviving Together, SASS@gmail.com. Hit the like button if you haven't. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you have, check your status. We had some subscribing issues. It kind of went up and down, but it's back to where it should be. But I don't know if that's due to new subscriptions or whether or not we might be getting just some stuff put back to where it should be. But I will tell you, we are at 1,800 watch hours, guys, on 209 subscribers. I could not be more thrilled. I'm so excited for this to grow as it is, as it's growing organically. Keep pushing this out to people. Keep telling people referring them. You can send them one of the earlier videos if you want. One of our shorter lives. This might be a good one. And let's help some more people. We'll show everybody that just with connection, you can heal. It also takes work to heal. But I don't think any of us in here would say that we aren't better for merely having the connections that we do. Being able to reach out, being able to even just come into a chat like this and for somebody to be like, hey man, how's it going? I see you. Again, it's affirmation. I see you, I hear you, I believe you. You're worthy, you're valuable. Here, you are among equals. That's the message that we want to send and the message that we hope everybody gets who lands here. Thank you to each and every one of you who are part of our SASS community already for making every other member who's popped up feel welcome. I could not be prouder. So with that, guys, remember, hit the like button, subscribe, bell for notifications. If you haven't, why not? It's only helping us spread the word. Doesn't hurt you. You can put notifications off if you don't really want to have the notifications. With that, I am going to send you guys out into the evening, and I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful, wonderful evening. Those of you who are in harm's way, I'm going to be checking in with you. Please check in with me as well. I want to know that you're safe and that you know that all of your things are safe. So I will check in with each and every one of you. So stay well, all of you. Love you lots. Remember, you are strong because you are a survivor. And you're loved just the way you are, for who you are. Bye, guys.